What's going on, workforce? Brian here, and to just get into it, today I want to talk to you guys about Destiny and cross-play with PC, hopefully with PS4 and Xbox One, and really get into what you have to say about it. I feel that Destiny 2 should be cross-play with PC, PS4, and Xbox One. I know there's going to be some challenges there. I really hope that the Destiny community cannot be divided with Destiny 2 because it is. Like when you look at Xbox, PlayStation 4, PC, those are three different pillars where the community, all being fans of the game, doesn't have the opportunity to play together. Now, I've heard your feedback and we're going to get into your comments about the challenges there, but I just want to share a couple of thoughts that I have as well as then jump into your comments and see what you have to say. First and foremost, Destiny 2 is a game with many parts. Two of those parts being, one is PvP, obviously, and the other is PvE. Now, we'll table PvP just for a second and we focus in on PvE. PvE in and of itself is cooperative. We're all working together to achieve the same goals. So if we want to play together, if you want to be on PlayStation 4 and I'm going to be on PC, there's no real advantage that I have over you per se because we're applying that advantage to fight the Cabal. And so even if I've got a higher refresh rate or I've got better precision with my mouse and keyboard, we're all winning and we're friends. So we're having fun and we're playing together. So at a minimum, I think from a PvE perspective, friends should be allowed to play together. Okay, so let's bring PvP back into the conversation. From a custom games perspective, hopefully Bungie makes sure that we've got that day one and we don't have to wait for years to get it. Now, it was introduced with the Rise of Iron in the original Destiny and it was fantastic and it still is to this day, but the reality is if you don't have custom games from day one, it doesn't matter. They can reintroduce it, but people have already written Destiny 1 off, and so they're not going to come back just to participate in custom games. They got tired of being steamrolled in PvP, and so that kind of just burned them out, and they're like, well, I'm kind of done with this game, so hopefully day one, custom games. But with custom games comes, well, why not play with friends? Because we now all accept that maybe one person has the advantage over another just because of maybe hardware limitations, per se. They've got again, higher refresh rate, better graphics card, better precision with a mouse and keyboard, but we know that, and they're our friend and we can play with them. In fact, if we can do a custom games, maybe it's all of us console players versus the one PC player and see who comes out on top. PC Master Race, King of the Hill. That being said, again, everybody's on the same page. No one's going into a match without the understanding that somebody could have a technical advantage over them. Now, that technical advantage should also be with a little, carrot by its name, because that assumes that the person has spent the thousands and thousands of dollars to have that advantage. More reasonably, they've spent a decent amount of money and they have a decent machine that can manage the game. So I think that there's not going to be that many people who have those professional grade machines that are really going to give them the 120 frames a second and all those options. And some of that stuff can be even limited and managed by the game itself, just to force particular control schemes or to force particular frame rates and things like that. Now, all that can be very technical, and at the end of the day, PvE and custom PvP games, if people want to play together, why not? The real question, and the thing that I would definitely want to throw my support behind in not doing it, is in any ranked PvP. Now, we don't know exactly what Bungie's got planned in terms of ranked content, in terms of PvP options and offerings, varying modes, etc. But if there's a real competitive push for Destiny, then hopefully we'll see, obviously, that even out, that there's going to be some type of even playing field set there. So if you're going into a ranked match expecting an even playing field, then yes, absolutely, you should be matched with PS4 players and Xbox One players, because that whole environment is going to get tricky in and of itself, because then you're talking about the Project Scorpio and you're talking about PS4 Pro systems that could technically offer a better advantage over their prior incarnations. So it's more than just PC and PS4 and Xbox crossplay. You're actually looking at the hardware itself within the console generation. So things are getting a little murky already. So here's what you guys had to say when I posted this topic yesterday. Another Nephron writes, I'm not sure how I feel with cross-platform play. If the PC is involved, it's hard to deny that PC players would have a distinct advantage in something like Trials of Osiris. I could see almost all LFG groups requiring you play on the PC, and a lot of negative elitism cropping up. And absolutely, we've seen this in the past with other cross-platform games. take Final Fantasy XIV for example, we can see this happening where, hey, PS3 players, we don't want you. PS4 players, you're gonna have to have that kind of hardware to participate in this raid because your system naturally cannot keep up with the content. And that is always going to be a case. You're not going to necessarily get around that. However, that can be managed by clans, that can be managed by playlists. That there's ways that can hopefully manage that, and I agree with you. Yeah, you know, negative elitism and all of that is never good. We want to always build communities that help each other out and support each other, and also have a good competitive play. I'm a fan of really good, you know, competition, but at the same time, this is something that will be a thing. I don't know if it's going to be a thing in PvE though, but I could be wrong. So very, very good point. Thanks for the comment. So now Kitty chimes in saying PC players will destroy the console player if there was cross play. This is true, and I replied to her going, but what about PvE content? Because in competitive play, yes, I think that the PC player, especially if they've invested the money, is going to have that advantage. There is always going to be skill involved. We can't just factor skill out, but when you're going to have an advantage, it makes up that difference in skill. So you could have the most skilled console player and somebody who's really skilled as a PC player, and you know, it's never going to be a one-to-one ratio. So I can fully understand that, and that's why I think it should be an option that people opt into, as opposed to here's just the norm. But like I said, I could totally support PvE content. Now, all of this, when we're talking about this as just a topic in and of itself, could be complex to manage, right? Because imagine if you're in a group and you're all doing PvE content, having a good time, and someone's like, hey, let's go run some PvP now, and then your group is automatically broken up. And then, so there could be some confusion there, and I could honestly see that being as a way of trying to manage and mitigate that. But there could, you know, at the same time, there could always be a PvP playlist that says free for all, no matter what system you're on, and go from there. So lastly, and I love the name here, Swaggity Swooty says, I really hope that there will be cross-platform play because I'm a PC gamer and will always be. And all of my friends play on PS4, but I still want to play with them without the need to buy a console. And this I agree with. It's like, you don't want to buy a PS4, you don't want to buy an Xbox One, or you play and you happen to be on PS4 and all your friends are on Xbox, and then it's like, well, I can't really participate. For where we are in 2017, it just seems like this big hurdle when maybe it doesn't necessarily need to be. You know, Microsoft has been trying to make inroads into that with Rocket League, but there are challenges, and they talked about this last year, and things like that still haven't come to fruition. Now, Gears of War supports PC and Xbox, but that's a part of the full Microsoft initiative. And the other challenge we have with this, and one that I know very well, is that you have exclusivity of content for PS4, and how does that going to play out with PC and Xbox players if they can play together, right? Hopefully that isn't an issue. I don't really mind. I wish we were getting that content. I wish Microsoft was able to get that deal with Activision, but I understand why they didn't want to go that route. But that's still going to be a challenge for some, especially if they have a gameplay advantage over others. And then immediately outside of PC, Xbox, you have a group of players who, you know, you're like, well, we can't get this weapon, and they all carry that one weapon that's a one-shot. Well, it's no fun, and it's unbalanced and unbreakable, and we won't have access to that for a full year. Now, hopefully most of that content is cosmetic. Hopefully most of that content doesn't necessarily break the gameplay. But it's my sincere hope that we're going to see crossplay with Destiny 2. But I'd love to know your thoughts more on this topic specifically. Does any of the ideas that I have, are you against any of them for any reason? And this is a conversation. You know, you don't have to agree with me. So I'm always interested in especially opinions that don't support my own, because I like to have that conversation, and I hope to have that below. But I just want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope to see you in my next video, but until then, I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care.
Thanks for watching. YouTube has a pretty cool video waiting for you over here. Our latest vlog is down below. For those of you new, subscribe is over here, and all of our other contact info is just right below me here. Thanks for watching.